Claudette Byers. I did not marry a smart man. I did not marry a smart man. Claudette Byers.
People get married for many different reasons. Some get married for love, some get married for financial security, some get married for intelligence, some even get married for love. Or, if you're really lucky, some get married because they found the man of their dreams. I'm not really sure why I got married, but I do know I did not marry a smart man. Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. In 1984, I married a man named Jeff. He went about 6'2", 240 pounds. Picture Jethro from the Beverly Hillbillies without hair. We had 2 children. In the first 2 years of our marriage, both girls, and we bought our first house when they were 6 and 7 years old. Our house was out in the country, which made both of us very happy. He loved to hunt, and I loved peace and quiet. We'd get out there. About the first week we're in the house, he decides he's going to go hunting. So I take my girls shopping. When I get home way before him, I go in our bathroom, and there's 2 tampon applicators and wrappers in my garbage. I don't have my visitor. My daughters are 6 and 7. Too young. Oh my God, I cannot wait till my husband gets home. He comes in the door, he said, "You're never going to believe it. Somebody broke into our house and stole 2 tampons." I used them. For what? Oh, I dip them in deer urine, and I hang them on my boot strings when I go hunting. My husband has been traipsing all over Beaver. Outside our window in our yard, we have 3 acres, seeing 8.1. He is bound and determined he's going to get this buck. So every single day he comes home from work, jumps in the shower to take a shower with his nose and soap, gets his swimming clothes on, grabs his rifle, and goes out and sits behind the barn for 2 hours. 2 hours of peace and quiet for me. Doesn't see the deer, comes in. Does this for a week. Following week, he's going to do it again. He's going to get this 8.5. But he says to me, "Well, do me a favor." Okay. Give me about 10 minutes to get out behind the barn. And then I want you to open the door and yell, "Jeff! Phone!" Again, I didn't want to ask. But do you think the deer's going to come out because he thinks you're on the phone? I said yes. I did not marry a smart man. A couple years later, he goes hunting again. Well, he decides he's going to go in this tree stand that he found in the woods. Okay, so he leaves, crack of dawn. Before noon, he's coming into my house like this. Jeff, what the hell did you do? The tree stand broke! The tree stand that he found, the strap had dried on it. So it like moved. And he grabbed on with both arms and both legs as hard as he could. And as gravity pulled him to the ground, he broke all those branches. He was bruised, all of his both arms and his legs. And it took at least 2 hours for his voice to return to normal. Very smart man. In February of 1996, I'm 8.5 months pregnant with our son. And, you know, 8 minutes married, you're going to get spicy, you get up. So I decide I'm going to go out. I'm going to buy a camouflage teddy. That's going to fit this piece of body. I wrapped it, and I put it on his pillow. After we put the kids to bed that night, we go upstairs to our bedroom. Jeff sees the gift. He opens it up. He holds it up. And he says, I am not wearing this. Talk about a mood killer. I did not marry a smart man. I married a hunter.
Next contestant, Michael Cortez. Not in my comfort zone. Not in my comfort zone, Michael Cortez.
Imagine that your head starts to hurt and your heart starts to race. You have a hard time breathing. Would you, like I did that one day, wonder, am I having a heart attack? Am I having a stroke? Am I about to get a visit from my mother-in-law? Mr. Chair, fellow Toastmasters, that day I knew why I was feeling that way. I was feeling that way because I was not in my comfort zone. I was in a place where I was uncomfortable, unexperienced, and unsafe. I was in the kitchen. Experts will tell you that you should step out of your comfort zone. They say that it'll help you grow, but you feel good. They're wrong. I know where my comfort zone is. It's that big comfy sofa in my living room. Big screen. Discovery. CNBC. The game. It's like a magic wand. When I'm in my comfort zone, I have control over the world. And believe me, I've grown. But I can be adventurous. I can't step out of my comfort zone. Much better. Do you remember the last time you were uncomfortable and out of your comfort zone? I've had many moments in my life when I was out of my comfort zone. I've been married 21 years. I love my wife, Valerie. And when I come home from work, she greets me at the door. Hi, honey. Hi, love. Welcome home. So how was your day? Are you feeling okay? I'm a little tired. Why don't you go lay down for a while? She's supposed to say no. Remember, we've been married 21 years. And let's face it, I'm rather charming. Hey, how you doing? Okay, you take care of the kids' dinner. I'm going to go lay down. I heard as she disappeared through the doorway. That's not how it's supposed to go. That's how I ended up in the kitchen. We eat a lot of rice, beans in my house, pot, spices, the rice. Apparently, when I cook, we also need a fire extinguisher. I gathered up the kids and took them back to my comfort zone. Handed one of the girls the remote control, and I grabbed the phone. Hello? Pizza Hut? Dinner was taken care of. Had a lot of moments that I remember when I look back in time. One moment that I remember was 1996. I had gotten a new job in a school. For the first time ever, I was working around many women. I was not in my comfort zone. But it's okay. Remember, I'm charming. I like to talk. I like to talk about home. I like to talk about work. I like to talk about food. And they like to talk about home. And they talk about their work. And they talk about yearly exams. I was not in my comfort zone. But things got better. Later that year, I had my first daughter. She was born. Yes, they come that little. And everybody saw her and knew how gorgeous she was. Oh, she's the darling. Are you going to have another one? I don't know yet. Are you trying? Not in my comfort zone. But 1999 rolled around, and we got another person in my department, another computer geek, another man. I could talk to him. We could bond. He was into bicycles. Interesting topic. I don't know that much about bicycles. And he showed me one. Do you know that they have seats? Like this? Not getting anywhere near my comfort zone. But 2008, I had a second child. We did try again. One was older, one was 5. Bras, boyfriends, I grabbed the 5-year-old and I took her back to my comfort zone. And I said, we'll just stay right here. 5 years old, Mr. Chair.
Our next contestant, Paul Matthews. The magic of yes. The magic of yes, Paul Matthews.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me hear you say yes.
Yes!
That yes is a magic word. It opens the door to adventure and possibility. Think of the adventure you've had in your life. Got one? How did this start? See, I'd be willing to bet there's a single decision you could point to that set the whole thing in motion. Maybe someone asked you to take a trip, or go on a date, or ride a bike to the city in your underwear. It's real. Now, when you made that decision, whatever it was, you said yes. Right? Mr. Contest Chair, friends and fellow adventurers, say yes and see where the adventure leads you. See, my adventure led me here. So it doesn't fall over. On September 4th, 2013, I fought one of my best friends in front of a live audience for a cable TV show. And if you'd been with me that night, you'd have felt that humid September air intensified by fog machines and bright lights. You'd have seen me pacing the locker room before the fight, sweat beating on my forehead, as I listened to my pump-up music. Bum, 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 bum. And the announcer called my name, and I had to start walking. My heart is racing, my stomach is turning for a second. I'm afraid I might throw up. But I climb to that ring, look around at the crowd, and think, how did I get here? When I trace back the events that led to that fight, I realized that it all started by saying yes to a free dinner. See, it was into a birthday in April when I received an email saying, UPMC has sponsored a table at a gala taking place this Friday night. Please respond if you'd like to claim a seat. I thought, fancy food, free ticket, chance to hang out with friends from work? Yes, sign me up. So I wore my nicest black suit, pressed white shirt, silk black tie. I wanted men in black. And the other was nice, a little stuffy. I spent most of the time catching up with my good buddy Alan, who's been friends with my wife and I for years. In fact, Alan was my wife's very first personal training client. He's still a work in progress. Now, when the gala wrapped up around 10 p.m., and Alan asked, "Want to get a beer?" I said, "Yes, let's go." So we drove to a trendy bar on Shadyside, got 2 beers, found a spot to stand and chat. We're there in our formal suits, easily the 2 most overdressed people in the entire bar, when 2 blonde 20-somethings come walking up, stop, and look us up and down. One of them says to me, "You look like you have a job." Do you want a box? And I look at her like, what? She says, "We're scouting for a reality TV show about coworkers in office jobs that learn to box and fight each other. You'd be perfect. Can I schedule you for a tryout?" I said, "Let me ask my wife." You know what you do in this situation. See, at first I started thinking about everything that could go wrong. Getting hurt, being embarrassed, ending up with Tosh 0.0. Then I started thinking about everything could go right. Shredded, being discovered, ending up in the next Rocky movie, yelling at my wife, "Yo, Vanessa, I did it!" discovered we're going to be on reality TV boxing. She says, I don't watch boxing. You'll mess up her face. I say, honey, why are you boxing Alan? She says, whatever. So that Tuesday night, Alan and I would meet up with a blonde from the bar and her producer at a hotel downtown. When we arrived, she says, hi, I'm going to need you to fill out a few forms. And then hand over all the data needed to steal my identity. And sign off on a legal contract saying they could sue me for $1 million if I said anything about the show before it airs. And as I'm signing my rights away, I can't help thinking, I am so writing a speech about this. So we take turns going back to the interview, and then they bring us back together. And when we're back there, the producer asks, why do you want to fight each other? Alan says, well, Paul is jealous of the relationship I have with his wife. We spent a couple hours a week together, sweating, grunting, flexing. It's intense. The sparks fly. I'm standing there like, dude, you're crazy. He says, your wife's crazy. About me? My hand seems to form a fist. And as the producer said, well, I really get to him on the show. The producer says, yes. Sure enough, 3 weeks later, we are in the gym, meeting our coaches and starting out for 12 weeks of intense training, sparring, conditioning, all the while being followed, filmmaker, sound guy, producer, and director. It was an incredible adventure, from beginning to end. If you want that story, you're going to have to watch White Collar Brawlers, Season 1, Episode 2. Available on Amazon Prime. Now, so you see, you just never know where your choices are going to lead you. Sometimes the simplest decision to say yes will lead on to the opportunity of a lifetime. Somewhere out there, the adventure is calling you. What will you say?
Yes.
Yes! Mr. Conte.
Our final contestant, Caleb Mueller. A spongy transformation. Spongy transformation. Caleb Mueller.
Can anybody tell me what a chicken of the woods, a turkey tail, and a dog's stink horn have in common? And no, these are not all things that Bear Grylls has eaten. Anybody? Yes! These are all mushrooms. These are all species of mushrooms. I just found this out about a month ago when I wrote this speech. Because I used to think there was just one kind of mushroom. And they all looked a little bit different. Okay, raise your hand if you like to eat mushrooms. I might need to rephrase that question. Raise your hand if you honestly like to eat mushrooms. You know, not sure if I believe all of you, because when I was a child, I hated mushrooms. I hated those spongy, gross, slimy things that parents used to torture their children. Okay, I promise you since then I've grown up a little bit, I've changed a bit, and I have a different perspective on mushrooms. And I would like to share with you that transformation. Starting from when I was a young boy, where I hated mushrooms. You see, my parents were the kind of parents who made you eat everything on your plate. So I became very good at hiding mushrooms on my mother's plate. I bet you can guess how well that went. I also became very good at sitting at the table for hours on end, hoping that I wouldn't have to eat those mushrooms in front of me. I bet you can guess how well that went. I also knew when I was young that mushrooms were sneaky. Have you ever had one of those dishes that has 100 different things in it? They're all different colors, shapes, and sizes. Hey, there's probably no mushrooms in here. It's just this stir fry. It looks delicious. You start eating it. It's tasty. It's all these different flavors. And suddenly you bite into something. Mushroom. There was a sneaky mushroom. I had nightmares when I was young of mushrooms getting into my food somehow. I had to always check to make sure they weren't there. But when I was young, so I hated mushrooms, and I limited myself in that sense, because there were many dishes I couldn't eat. But 3 years ago, something changed. My relationship with mushrooms changed. I started a plant-based diet. And this meant that whenever I went to a restaurant, there were about 3 things that I could eat. There were also about 3 things that I could eat that contained mushrooms in them. So whenever I was out with my friends at a restaurant, I was forced to eat mushrooms. Because you don't go to a restaurant and just sit there and eat nothing. So my friends would look at my plate and see that I was eating very slowly and think, oh wow, Caleb really likes mushrooms. And then they would look at my face and realize that I was dying inside. After a couple of times of going to restaurants and forcing myself to eat mushrooms, something changed. These mushrooms, they weren't as bad as they used to be. They were still intolerable, mind you, but just not as intolerable as before. So then I did something unthinkable. I did something that my younger self would have cringed and been incredibly shocked by. I decided to force myself to eat mushrooms whenever I had an opportunity to do so. And I did this. And bit by bit, I began to enjoy mushrooms more and more. And it was amazing. There were so many dishes out there that I could eat. It was incredible. I also got to know mushrooms in a different way. As a close friend of mine recently moved to Pittsburgh, and I would describe him as quite a mushroom guy. I would even go as far as to say that he is a fungi. I'm sorry I had to do that. But he introduced me to something that I never thought would have existed. Are you ready for this? I am now a member of the Western Pennsylvania Mushroom Club. That thing exists. They go on walks in the woods and they look at mushrooms and they inspect them and they talk about them. Whenever I go on a run with my friend, we stop to smell the mushrooms. I even get a mushroom magazine now. You can buy mushrooms for your dog. You can also get mushroom body scrub. Please consult your significant other before doing that. Needless to say, mushrooms had changed my life. Now, before I wrap things up, I've noticed that a few of you have been looking to the right of me a little bit. There isn't actually a giant mushroom here. That was just the hallucinogenic mushrooms I put in your lunch. I'm sorry. But if you can weed through all this sponginess, this slimy mushroom talk, you'll get to my main point, and that you shouldn't limit yourself. When I was young, I said, I can't do that. I can't eat that plate of mushrooms. Well, yes, little Caleb, you can. It's just very difficult. And it has been totally worth it. So change the way you speak. Instead of saying, I can't do something, say, maybe that's going to be difficult to do, but I could do it. Unless it's flying. You can't do that. Don't go leaving here saying, Caleb told you you can fly. But again, it is an amazing thing that can happen if you don't limit yourself in that sense. And now you will never find mushroom left on my plate if there's an opportunity to have more mushrooms. I'm sorry I had to make another mushroom pun.